Hello, Mitch. Hello, Troy. Hey. So, I'm here to interview you about the U of D grad traits. So, Troy, what are your opinions on U of D's grad traits? Specifically, their committed to doing justice trait.
I think it's conceptually sound. It's a good idea. On paper, it all sounds great, but it doesn't really go anywhere in practice. It's pretty hollow in practice, at least.
How about you, Mitch?
I'd have to agree with Troy on this one. I think a lot of teachers have sort of the idea down about, here's what we should be doing and sort of teaching this vaguely in class. But when it comes to putting the pedal to the metal and actually constructing, ways to do it, I mean, yeah, pledge trait's awesome and cool, but charity is only one thing you can do with community justice. You have to actually tackle things, and I don't think the school does that at all.
Alright, how about the open to growth trait?
I'd have to just repeat my last, statement that a lot of students, they refuse to listen to different opinions, and they come out the same. I'm not saying you have to have a full-fledged political conversion between the time you enter U of D and the time you leave U of D, but there should be some new opinions gained or some opinions lost based on when new information presents itself. It needs to be your opinions really reflect that.
I'm going to slightly disagree on this one and say that, at least in my experience with the school, I did see a lot of people make a change in their thought process by the end of their stint at the school, but I think it was very selective, only certain things. There was still a lot of closed-mindedness to other things that come with being a conservative Catholic high school and things of that nature. It wasn't all open to growth. It was selective growth, more so.
Alright, how about the loving trait?
You can come back to me on that one.
Mitch?
I think it really depends on the people. There are a lot of people, and I think that are sort of that, embrace that sort of, Catholic social justice mantra that we should, respect and love all and cherish all people. But at the same time, there are a whole lot of people who just couldn't give less of a care about anything. At all.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with that. There's a very strong sense of community. There's always kind of this banding together for the sake of U of D within itself, but stepping out of that, it's pretty shifty most of the
It's
time.
like the idea of U of D is really strong and collective, but individual parts of that. So yeah, I love people who go to U of D, but I don't love X type of person who goes to U of D or Y type of person. It's the idea, the platonic ideal of U of D,
Yes.
and not the actual real world examples.
Alright, how about the religious aspect?
I mean, I think you have to define religious. Catholic, and then 33% of the student body is failing in that regards. But if you
33%.
Well, at least 33%, and then there are people who are Catholic, but not really. It's air quotes, but so I don't know. I think you have to define what that means to be religious. I think there are a lot of people who are religious. I don't think there are a lot of people who are as deep in Catholic faith as the school would like. But
I think there's, for the most part, two extremes. There's those people who are die-hard Catholics and will fight you if you say anything about the faith. And then there's people who are vehement atheists, which I think the Catholic school system as a whole kind of breeds atheists because there's such a stifling overtone of religion that a lot of people are just driven to reject it just from being forced into it in the first place. So it's one of the other. It's either your faith really grows or you kind of drop away from it.
I think though we're talking about tolerant of other religions. I think the school does a good job with that. Because you don't hear a lot of racist stuff, a lot of homophobic stuff, but you don't really hear a lot of anti-religious talk.
I agree.
Now on to the final point, the intellectually competent trait.
I think you would have to define intellectually competent in this question because U of D breeds a lot of book smarts and knowledge of academic things, but some people are just pretty unintelligent. They don't really care to expand themselves, which goes back to open to growth too, and it kind of breeds this dumb as a doornail species of teenage boy.
There's a good quote by a former admissions director and current honors English teacher. Will not be saying names, but it was that U of D is better than the other Catholic schools, but you don't have to be a genius to go to school here. I think that's really true, actually. There are a lot of smart kids, like we got kids going to Harvard this year, but then there's some pretty stupid kids, too.
Yeah.
So I think there's a great ability to learn, but whether that's being put into full effect, I'm not so sure.
All right. Thank you guys for your time and for the interview.
Thank you.
Okay. Sure.
High
Fine.
five.
That works.
I wish
Why
that would
not?
have blown down.
Well, he's